TIL The Chicago gangster Hymie Weiss had terminal cancer, which allowed him to recklessly ignore his own safety. Weiss led a gang war against Al Capone, shooting up Capone's car and hotel, making him the only man Al Capone feared. Ultimately, Weiss was assassinated on October 11, 1926. Weiss was said to have suffered from arterial cancer, which often gave him blinding headaches, dizziness, and fainting spells. Because of his illness, Hymie often said, "I don't expect to live long, but I expect to live long enough," which may explain his fearlessness while fighting Al Capone. He survived for 2 years after taking over gang leadership, and was shot in broad daylight. I don't believe simply knowing you're going to die makes you completely fearless. Most people would have wanted to extend and enjoy what little time they have left. This guy sounds like he was largely fearless to begin with, and knowing he was going to die allowed him to be even more reckless. Makes me think of Alex Honnold free soloing El Capitan. His brain basically does not process fear like most people. When you aren't afraid of dying, you can truly take yourself to places you otherwise couldn't. The Jewish Mafia in Chicago was at war with the Italian Mafia for decades, until the Jewish Mafia got a guy on the inside of the IRS, which led to the downfall of Capone. That man's name was Frank Wilson. Never ever piss off someone who literally has nothing to live for. People who know the exact date they're going to die generally have no problem taking the cause of their death into their own hands. Isn't there a really famous quote about someone with nothing to lose is the most dangerous? The most dangerous man you'll meet is the one that has nothing to lose anymore, or something like that. The 28-year-old gang boss was said to have left a fortune of $1.8 million. Clearly not spending it all, face of impending death. Also possibly of interest, my grandfather knew Weiss and a few other gangsters from the North Side gang. Gramps apparently once did surgery on Legs Diamond. What a weird coincidence. Harry Houdini's real name was Eric Weiss, and he was probably basically assassinated 3 weeks after this, not too far away. How many died when he got shot? Wiki says he had 4 people with him, and all of them were shot multiple times. I know at least one of his bodyguards died. Does anyone know how cancer was diagnosed back then? For some reason I'm surprised that they were able to diagnose him in the 20s with terminal cancer. Now I'm picturing Capone hiring the world's greatest doctor to kidnap Weiss and cure his cancer, thereby depriving him of his fearlessness. Makes me wonder how many of his henchmen, who did not have terminal cancer, were killed while he recklessly ignored his personal safety. What is also funny is that him and Capone are buried in the same cemetery. Fought all that time just to end up in the same place. This reminds me vaguely of the advice people who are suicidal sometimes receive. That the world is your oyster advice. We all have a terminal disease. We all are mortal. Go and do the thing. Live your life without fear. That's a young Al Pacino in The Pick, after he got roughed up by the police captain in The Godfather. There's still a bullet hole in the facade of Holy Name Church on State Street where he was shot. Dude is 28 max in this picture. People age differently back then. I thought he was late 40s. Terry says zero chance this hasn't been pitched to Netflix yet. It could make for a great show. Well, I also know this chemistry teacher who had lung cancer then become a famous drug lord. Sounds like Breaking Bad. Are there any good books or movies about this guy? Imagine more guys with terminal cancer going after gangsters with no fear. Don't agree with the method, but he certainly denied cancer its victim. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who has nothing left to lose. We all thought about that. What we would do if we had terminal cancer. Imagine you have terminal cancer and you die of assassination. Few things more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose. Always thought only person Capone feared was Bugs Moran. He is that crazed Tony Montana look in his eyes, too. Imagine if the cancer diagnosis was a false positive. I'd rather fuck and party myself to death, but hey, Hymie the Polak real wordsmiths those gangsters. How did he get cancer? And what cancer did he have?